11 at 4:00 p.m. And when Robbie's available, if he will call the roll, please.
Present.
Here.
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 And so Fritz, Creasy, White.
All right. Let
That
the
are
record
absent right
reflect
now.
we do have a quorum. I will ask the prayer over the meeting, and we will ask Commissioner Waddell if he would to lead us in the pledge. Heavenly Father, we come to you today giving you honor and praise and thanking you, Father, for every blessing that you give to us, most of all, the greatest gift of our salvation. Please forgive us, Lord, when we fail you, when we sin. Please strengthen us, God, not to sin, but always keep our eyes on you. Lord, ever remind us, Father, that we should be Christians every day, all day, in and out of season, in and out of church, in and out of the courthouse, in and out of our homes. Please ever give us that godly wisdom today, Father, as we discuss the business of your people. Guide us in your wisdom. All this we ask in Jesus' holy name. Amen.
Teaching salute pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioners. First item on the agenda is the Cash and Fund Balance Report. Director Holbrook, if you would, please.
Okay. In the cash and fund balance, on the general fund line, restricted funds are $973,201. Committed funds, $1.7 million. Assigned funds, $3.1 million. Unassigned fund balance is at $7.3 million, and total fund balance $13.2 million. Cash is at $15,870,096, which is up $3 million from last year at this time. So, cash will peak in February. That's when this month is, taxes are due the 28th, and that's the deadline. And so this will be our peak month. Next month, March report, you should see the highest numbers for cash, and then they'll start to go down again as we spend money for the rest of the fiscal year. So,
Let the record reflect that Commissioner Fritz and Commissioner White are present. Afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon. Sorry to be late.
That's all right.
Tell me where we're at.
we're on page one. We have this much. But any other question? Any questions on the cash and fund balance? Okay, sales tax for December. 3.9 million was collected by the county as a whole, up 39%. The county, 483,069, up 8% from last December. And for the yearly calendar totals, 6.3 million, which was up from 5.3 million, up 17% from last year for the county's portion. And also, Commissioner Yeager had asked in November, we've started collecting the out-of-state sales tax. It was $1,278 in November, and this December it's $58,000. I asked Janice in the trustee's office, and we had to issue a refund in November was the reason for the reduction. With these just starting out, I'd say we collected some that we probably shouldn't have. It's possible. This is kind of new, so it might fluctuate some.
So you said November is,
November, when we only had 1,000, we issued a refund back to the state.
but how would was it, I know last month you said we were plateaued,
Yeah, now we were up this month 8% for the
and that's
county.
for November,
That was December's collection.
December. So,
November, we were down a little.
so Christmas shopping
Yes.
helped us out.
Yeah, you talked about that in commission, and we
Yeah.
did see an increase this,
Because I was hoping with all the new additions of those good stores in Oak Ridge that that would really see
Well-
pickup.
Right, if you look at the county as a whole, it was up 39% from last December, so we, 3.9 million, last December it was 2.8 million, so. A lot of people have done their, usually, a lot of their shop in November and December, so. But we were up 39%.
January yet,
Right.
too early, yeah.
No, we haven't received those yet.
Robert, when this money is collected, it goes to the state, and then the state turns around and sends us our portion.
Right.
Any other questions? All right. Moving on into the consent agenda.
Okay, transfers, there are 1 through 10 are in the transfers. I'm seeking approval as a group. I can answer any questions you might have about any of them.
Move for approval as a group.
Motion by Commissioner Fritz to approve items 1 through 10 as a group. We have a second by Commissioner Denenberg. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
Okay, 11 through 13 are from the schools. They're, one is a transfer, a major line item, and 2 are appropriations. Seeking approval as a group or individually.
Move for approval as a group.
Commissioner Smallridge moves to approve items 11 through 13 as a group, second by Commissioner Jameson. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
Okay, number 14 is from the Highway Department, moving $85,000 from restricted for highways to 4 different codes, machinery and equipment parts, maintenance and equipment repair, road signs, and other contracted services.
Commissioner Waddell moves to approve item number 14, second by Commissioner Denenberg. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, is these any particular roads? Is these any particular roads?
No, they're for supplies. Striping of roads, one of them, some of them for supplies and equipment parts for the, I'm sorry, and for parts and stuff for the equipment.
Okay, just had to maintain county roads through the next budget. I just wondered if it was any certain.
No, it's just to add to what budget items we already have.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Denenberg.
Superintendent Long,
Yes.
how much of an increase in supplies are you starting to see?
Such as? Well,
Any
the
of
gra-
them?
Oh, okay, of course, the asphalt's costing more and gasoline's costing us more. And as long as, along with everybody else. So
Well, aren't a lot of what you use petroleum-based products?
yes.
I would think there would be a reason higher increase.
There is getting to be a significant amount, especially in this quarter,
Yeah,
due to the increase of petroleum products. And actually, our asphalt is tied to it, and our gasoline and diesel. And, and actually, the collection of some of those taxes, we look for them to be down in the next quarter because the increase is going to be such an increase at the pumps.
Have you, in your mind, adjusted mentally for possible much higher price increases?
Yes, we have, and actually, we'll be talking to the ARP committee probably on Tuesday about some of the money that they've got for some infrastructure.
Sorry about that.
Oh. Sorry, Andy.
Throw something at me next time, Andy. I believe those are all the questions I have, but I just really wanted to touch base on, because we're all starting to see gas go up. I know in Oak Ridge in the past couple of days, it's gone up almost 20 cents a
Yes,
gallon.
yeah. Oh,
So-
and diesel fuel's gone up significantly more than
Yeah.
that on the street pumps, but yes,
Thank you, sir.
yes.
Commissioner Smallridge.
Is your contract, over a period of time, when they give you a price, a firm price for 3 months or 5 months, or how is that bid, I
It
guess?
just depends on the item. Their asphalt's tied to the fuel index, and it's tied to the increases, and it reflects a monthly basis. Of course, the rock is on a 12 months contract. It normally has an increase every 12 months. Our products, some of our products last year, even though we're under contract, it increased so much that the suppliers just refused to deliver at the old price because inflation was hitting them so hard. The last 45 to 60 days, they wouldn't deliver some of the products that because we had ample supply on the yard, but we were trying to increase the stock, and they just wouldn't deliver till, in July, a lot of it's gone up tremendously this year, yes.
Even though you had a contract?
Yes,
with-
yeah, yeah. And normally those contracts read, I think they can break them with, either party can break them with a 30-day notice, you know, but with inflation and some of the products, well, you all know it, it doesn't matter if it's at the grocery store or at the gas pumps, some of it's hard to get and it's inflated when you get it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, number 15 is from the library board. It's $2,196 from local restricted funds,
Motion to approve.
increasing other equipment.
Motion by Commissioner White to approve item number 15, second by Commissioner Smallridge. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carried.
Okay, number 16 is a request from Circuit Court Rex Lynch for $12,000 from data processing reserve for data processing equipment.
Motion to approve item 16 by Commissioner Waddell, seconded by Commissioner Denenberg. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, I'm sorry, Commissioner Denenberg.
Question, Rex, this isn't anything to do with the cameras and things that we?
No, this is
Okay.
more of we've got some old data that was way before my time. It's basically the only way to retrieve it right now is we've got one computer in our office, and it's on that computer. So
Okay.
Brian's got this with the Laserfish, and he's gonna put it in the cloud where we'll be able to get it from forever and ever. And there's some other stuff on there which I can't explain. He'll have to explain that, the switches and the ports and all that. But just so you know, we collect so much money on each case that can
Right.
only be used for data processing. So we've got probably over $30,000 in data processing reserve right now. So this is just no impact on the budget.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carried.
Okay, number 17 is from the Sheriff's Department for insurance recovery, $7,734.58.
Move
And
to
there's 3
approve.
receipts attached that we've received for this.
Motion made to
Gotta
approve
correct
item
today.
number 17 by Commissioner Denenberg, seconded by Commissioner Jameson. Any discussion, or Robbie can finish,
I
whichever.
do want to
one.
point, I do want to point out that, I don't know if your copy says 335, that vehicle maintenance is 338, so it will be in 338.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carried.
Okay, our next one is from the Juvenile Department. It's a $1,000 increase in revenue for a grant and contracts with other agencies.
Move approval.
Commissioner Jameson moves to approve item number 18. Do we have a second by Commissioner Smallridge? Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carried.
Okay, the next one is from the county clerk for $5,200 increase in data processing fees and increasing service contracts, data processing equipment, and data processing supplies for $5,200.
Move for approval.
Second.
Commissioner Fritz moves to approve item number 19, seconded by Commissioner White. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carried.
Okay, number 20 is from the Tourism Department, Stephanie Wells, $300 increase in revenue for building maintenance. It is money we've already received, and she's just moving it to her building maintenance code.
Move to approve.
Commissioner Dannenberg moves to approve item number 20. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner White. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carried.
Okay, the next one is Conservation Board Tourism for the Tourism Enhancement Grant. They're asking for $203,824 out of unassigned fund balance. used to expand the campground at Anderson County Park, creating an additional 22 short-term electrical sites that would generate possibly $42,000 in revenue annually. There are
Move for
currently-
approval.
I'll second.
Commissioner Fritz moves to approve item number 21, seconded by Commissioner Denenberg.
Mr. Chairman.
Any discussion? Commissioner Fritz?
When I was on the Conservation Board, this is something we talked about quite a bit. And we talked, basically, this is a no-brainer for the fact, you know, that the revenue that it's going to bring in, not only for the campsite itself, but for the amount of money that people who come there to camp will spend in the area with supplies, groceries, gas, all this stuff when they come in here. We got land up there that hasn't been utilized in years and years and years, and the campsites stay booked all the time. And this right here just opens up the door to bring more people into Anderson County to utilize the ground up there and to take advantage of what we have to offer here in Anderson County. And so this right here, you know, when they say the $42,000 annually, and that's just the fees for the campsites, that's not including all the other stuff that's going to bring in investment-wise. So I encourage everyone to support this because it's going to be a major plus for the county.
I agree.
Question.
Commissioner Smallridge?
Yes, I think the original grant, as if I'm reading here correctly, was $150,000 with a $75,000 match.
Yes.
And now that $329,000 bid does that include the original 150, or is that?
Yes, we need the 150, there are some architectural fees that will come out of that. So that's why we just need an additional 200 to reach the 200 and some odd, thousand, to reach the 329.
So that total match will be this
Yes.
203?
And then there's already 75 in reserve, and it is a little confusing, but there's already 75 has been already reserved to match the original grant, yes. Yes.
Thank you.
So,
Any further discussion?
I guess I have a tourism enhancement grant, 203, and an unassigned fund balance, 203. The bid come in a lot more than what apparently was expected. Are there any chance that we could rebid that?
We can rebid it. We have already narrowed the scope down quite a bit.
What does that mean, narrow the scope down?
Well, there is an area that we looked at that right now is tent camping, had 13 spots. We were looking at going beyond that up into the woods and doing an additional 22 spots up there. When we talked with the architect and looked at the amount of work that needed, if you stand there at the lake and you look up, you'll see that it is quite a difference in elevation. And so when we talked to the architect and the amount of work that was involved, there was no way we were going to be able to do it for 150, the original bid, or the original grant. And so we scaled it back, and so we're using the same footprint, but we're able to get additional spots in there and make them electric, add electric, put water at every spot, and then do a little bit of more up on top. And I have a picture, if you all want to pass this around and look at it, that what it will look like or what the layout is. But we have already scaled it down quite a bit.
Thank you.
So we will get 22 additional spots, and they will be short-term rental, and they will have electric, and they will accommodate bigger equipment. Right now, the campground that we have does not accommodate the longer trailers and trucks. So, and when we talk about return on investment, last year we put in a reservation system, so we've been able to track what our occupancy is. So those are really good numbers, that we didn't just pull them out of nowhere. And that is based on last year's occupancy and what we can project for this new year. So you will, I mean, if you look at the numbers, within 5 years, you already have your money back, which is a really good return on investment.
Commissioner White?
Yes, I see the picture, and, I'm not completely sold. I won't oppose it, but I'm not completely sold. To come over that much on a project.
And, yeah, I mean, that's just like Gary was, just like Gary was talking about, the price of everything has gone up. And right now, our concern, we had 7 people show up for the 7 companies show up for the pre-bid meeting, and only 2 of them bid the project. So right now, it's just a matter, everybody's covered up. It's just a matter of trying to get somebody to do the work. And to get it done, we do have to have it done next year by February, or we'll lose the $75,000 from the state.
So it's time sensitive.
It is time sensitive, yes. Yes. And again, I mean, there's a return on investment, I think is one thing I really want to stress, and just enhancing the park. And we have a lot of competition. There's other campgrounds around Norris Lake that are being built. Right here in Anderson County, I think there's been 2 proposed just in the last few months. So having those nicer sites that can accommodate the bigger trailers and equipment, I think is going to be a real big advantage for us.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Waddell?
I got a couple of questions. First of all, you said the return on investment. Where does the money that you all collect for these campsites, where does it come back to? Does it come back to general fund? Okay. Putting in this much more is going to obviously cause some maintenance upkeep to go up. Are you gonna hire, or is there gonna be somebody need to be hired to help with that, or?
Well, there's somebody that needs to be hired right now.
Yeah.
There are issues there too, because, I mean, I don't want to speak for Ben. Ben can speak for himself, but I know that he really has a lot of difficulty hiring people because of the pay rate. So that's, additional revenue could also maybe assist with those issues. So, yeah.
Well, we put a lot of money into tourism around here, and I just want to make sure if we're taking 203 out of the general fund, I want to make sure that 203 goes back into the general fund, first of all. Second of all, you keep talking about bigger campers. I get more complaints from residents in that area about campers and everything else on that road. That road is very small and curvy, and we start bringing in larger campers. It's obviously not going to be my problem. It's going to be whoever takes my seat, but they're going to get calls about it, and it's an issue. That road won't handle bigger campers. We can't be dragging 40-foot campers up Park Lane. I think that this adds. I think it's a great idea, but it adds to other things. We're going to have to do something with the road. We're going to have to add maintenance, and I don't think that's all been looked at. I think everybody, as usual, is just saying, "Oh well, let's do it," and we'll deal with the problems as they come. So, I'm not going to be able to support this right now until we can add to it and fix all the problems that's going to occur with it.
Any further discussion? Stephanie, to make sure I understand, I think Commissioner White is correct with this, but the original bid didn't require us to have to dip in to get this extra 203, and the cost, the increase on the cost is what having us consider doing this, is that right?
The bid that came in is where the additional costs come in.
Okay, all right. How much does tourism have in the bank that they may be able to put in some on this?
That would be a discussion to have with my board as far as transferring funds. So, I mean, even though it is a tourism enhancement grant, it is a park
Sure.
facility.
Conservation
So that's
board
where
type, yeah.
that's where it's come, where the general fund comes into play.
Understand.
Shane, I'd also like to add that ARP funds could be used for this as well. That is
So, at the
that's a
workshop-
possibility. We can
Okay.
discuss this at the workshop too, Tuesday,
Okay,
so we wouldn't have to take from fund balance. We could use the,
So could we theoretically, and Jerry may be able to tell me I'm wrong on this, because he chaired this committee for quite a while. Could we go ahead and possibly approve this tonight, find out Tuesday that we could use that fund to be able to pay for this, and then we could take it out of that account?
That's a possibility, yes,
Okay. All right,
if that's commissions, law.
gotcha. Right. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no.
No.
Gentlemen, if we would, and lady, if we'll have a hand vote, please. All in favor, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, then 22 through 25 are from the mayor. 22 is $250 from under contracted services. It's actually a transfer with payroll, part-time help to contracted services. And 23 as well, from part-time help, $1950 to other contracted, to data processing equipment. Both of these are for the county archives. And the last one is, well, I'm sorry, there's 4 from the mayor, 22, 23, 24, and 25. 24 is a request for $4,507 from unassigned to increase the planning supervisor director's salary. That was motion made in operations to do that, and it's attached, as you can see. And 25 is a request for $116,400 from unassigned fund balance for a matching grant for the health department. And the mayor is here to answer any questions you might have.
Mayor, that's for Margie,
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
As a group,
As a group.
Commissioner White moves to approve items 22, 23, 24, and 25. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Fritz. Any discussion? Commissioner Waddell?
On that raise, Mayor, is that $4,500, is that just to finish out the rest of the fiscal year, or is that a yearly increase?
So it would be 5,000 for an entire year, but because the confirmation was only at, I think I put that date in there, 9/21/21, it would be start there.
Right,
So
okay.
it wouldn't backfill to previous months. That's why the amount is only,
So
so it's
next-
4,000.
So next year's budget, they would show an increase of $5,000?
5,000, yes, sir.
Okay, I think we just need to, if we approve that, I think we need to make that, kind of submit that to memory, so when they bring us an increase up here, $5,000, we're not sitting here complaining or griping about it, so.
But you won't be here.
Can you memorialize that, Robbie?
I'll take care of that, don't worry.
Any further discussion? Commissioner Smallridge? I'm sorry, Commissioner Jameson.
That's all right, he's a.
I was looking at you, but I was,
Man, I am anyway. Enlighten me. We're promoting somebody to, from one job to another?
Yes, sir. You all actually did. So this was taking the building inspector and director to the full-time building commissioner. So that was something that required full commission confirmation, and she did come to operations and then to this committee. You confirmed that. Then at full commission, there was a motion to look at giving her an increase. And that's what, I'm just a little bit late bringing it back. I think you all voted on that in regular meeting September 20th, 2021, and I'm just now getting to it.
Are we gonna hire somebody to fill the position that she was in?
No, sir, she's still performing that role.
So she is getting more responsibility and a little more money?
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you.
Commissioner Smallridge.
Mayor, could you tell us a little bit more about the scope of this renovation? It sounds like it's a pretty extensive, am I right about $400,000 or $500,000, accounting with money from the state? And
Yes, so
is it focused on something specific or just a general renovation?
So at this point in time, this is just something where the state is saying they're making funds available to all the health departments across the state for renovations. We haven't come up with a full scope to present to commission for approval. So we have done a little bit of, I guess, groundwork. We're also going to discuss that or put some paperwork in front of you at the workshop. And we're hosting your workshop at the health department so that maybe 10 minutes before the meeting starts or 15 minutes before, you could walk through the building and see what needs to be done. There are some updates that are needed. There are also some efficiencies that are needed in terms of how people access the building. So now there are multiple access points. They would like to consolidate that. That would create efficiencies for both staffing and the public. And the desire is to also, this would not be part of the state, but if we do that for the health department, it would be good to move the dental clinic down to the end of the building. The facility was originally designed for 3 separate businesses, and then it was turned into or retrofitted to become the health department and the dental clinic. And once you get in there, you'll kind of see it's a maze. And so it would be nice to take advantage of this state money to be able to remedy some of that and then also make it a more efficient operation. So no, we're not there, and that would all come to you. And then we also would be required to present that scope to the state as well.
Thank you.
Any further discussion?
Also, this is another project that could be used for ARP funds that could be discussed Tuesday.
Yeah.
And that's in her explanation as well.
Okay. Any further discussion?
So on this, we're just gonna set the money aside, is that what we're doing?
Yes, sir. So
Come back for approval here?
yes, so this is committing the money if you want to change it to the recovery, but the state wants to issue contracts. They want to award everyone by April. And so they would like us to make a commitment that, yes, we're going to do some renovations, we're going to set aside the money, and then they'll send us the contract for that. And then what they're going to do is some of the areas that don't use money or don't have renovations or their county does not want to match funds, then they're going to take the remaining dollars and distribute those as well. So that's kind of why they want to move up. Normally, I wouldn't come until we had more of an idea of what we were doing, but they want to know by April.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carried. Thank you, Mayor.
That's all. Well, I do have 3 more budget amendments, but we'll take them under new business. The next thing on the agenda is the fire truck resolution that we've passed around to commission, back to committees, to commission, back to committees. They sent it to Budget Committee about a possible funding solution if the resolution is passed, and we have since, and I talked about this in commission, we learned, actually the day of commission or a little bit before, that we can use ARP funds to purchase fire trucks now. That's a possibility. I don't know that we want to purchase all 13 at one time. I'm not really in favor of a bulk purchase because I think we just bought, there's 3 fire departments that their fire trucks are less, well, Andersonville doesn't even have theirs yet. Rescue Squad got theirs this year, and 3 years ago, Medford got theirs. So, I mean, there are 5 departments or 5 fire departments that have trucks that are older than, it's been 10 years or more since we purchased a fire truck for them. So you might get caught up there possibly, and that's just a possibility. And then maybe fund it in the budget each year for the additional ones, or, I mean, it's up to commission. There's different ways we can fund this, but ARP funds can be used, and we can discuss this Tuesday in the ARP workshop as well.
Any questions or discussions?
I'd just like to say, I guess to repeat what I said the other day in the commission, we could we could easily put $300,000 in the budget and just take care of this 1 year at a time. I know all the fire departments don't need one truck. They need a long-term commitment of how they're gonna get their trucks for the volunteer departments. The city departments might be different, but, I'd love to see us just put $300,000 in the budget for them and, do a one truck a year rotation and just go at it like that. I think it's a lot easier for us and we're not gonna expend all that money all at once. And I realize we can save money by bulk purchase, but we also spend a lot, and we don't know what the future holds for the county, for our tax base. We don't know any of those things, so I'd hate to throw all that money out on the fire trucks.
I agree with that, but one thing that happens too, the reason we went to half years, as soon as we have a bad budget year, that's the first thing that gets cut out of the budget also, so.
There's a lot of other stuff
Right.
we can cut though,
Yeah.
if this commission wanted to, that wouldn't affect our residents, so.
Commissioner Fritz?
We have to remember too, this fire truck thing started out where we were just giving something like $100,000 a year. Then it went up to 175, then it went up to 200, and then it went up to this. Now it's gone up to 300, and the people who are with the fire truck saying it's gonna go astronomically high, and 300,000 ain't gonna cover it. We're just gonna get to the point where we're not gonna be able to afford to buy a fire truck every single year again, and even at $300,000. They've already said, that if we buy bulk at one time, you're gonna have enough to save to buy another fire truck, or so much to a period of time over the 10-year period or whatever that is. I mean, we're playing with our money. I mean, some fire departments are needing it now, some may not, but hey, let's look what is best deal over the long term. $300,000 ain't gonna buy a truck 10 years from now. It may not even come close to buying a truck. And we're not gonna be able to afford to keep doing that every single year. Because you look at where we started and where we're at now, it just keeps getting higher and higher.
Buying fire trucks is no different than buying ambulances or cars at the sheriff's department. We're gonna have to continue to buy them for the coming years. The price is gonna go up. There's not much we can do about it. We're not buying Nathan 12 ambulances at one time. I'm sure he'd like that, but. No. But, I'm sure the sheriff would like us to buy all brand-new police cars. Nathan would like us to buy all brand-new ambulances. But it's just not, we can't do it. We can't take and spend our money like that. We have to be a little bit more cautious, my opinion. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Just to give you all an update from the Fire Commission, when the resolution was first drafted, the idea on the table, of course, was to purchase all at one time. There was a gentleman that was here that was offering discounts and the prices and everything. Since then, the Fire Commission has been advised that it may not wind up going that way. They understood, they didn't get too upset about that. They understood that the cost may have to come down, that it may just be a few purchased at a time. I mean, again, I'm sure they would love of everyone to have one, but they understood also that even if all 11 were purchased at one time, they're not all gonna roll off the truck at one time. They would come at different times. So, the urgency, I just wanted the Budget Committee to understand, the urgency may not be as strong. I think Robbie pointed out the fact that how many departments are over the 10-year mark?
Just 5.
Okay. So,
There are 5 over.
out of 11.
Is that counting the city department?
That is
Yeah, it's
four-
counting the cities
4 of
as
those
well.
are cities.
How many of the volunteer departments are over?
I asked him the same question.
1.
Okay. Because the
Bryceville
cities-
is 15 years.
The cities have a purchasing mechanism, and they continue to purchase trucks. The volunteers are kind of dependent more on us than the cities are. So I'm not as concerned if Oak Ridge has a truck over 10 years old. They've got trucks manning every station, lots of stations down there, whereas Riceville's got one station. So those are the ones that I'm more concerned with.
Absolutely. But certainly it'll be a discussion at the workshop. Any further discussion? All right, moving on.
Okay, the next thing on the agenda is the 22-23 budget calendar guidelines. The first thing I need is a motion to, I've included the calendar and some forms in your packet, and I need a motion to approve the calendar and forms.
Motion to approve.
Commissioner Waddell approves to approve the budget calendar and forms for fiscal year 22-23, seconded by Commissioner White. Any discussion?
And I've made most of this calendar like before. It usually falls on budget committee meetings. I've tried to schedule them. We only usually have one extra meeting, and that is the budget hearings is normally an extra meeting if we have those, so. And the last thing, I'm sorry, we
Yeah,
didn't
we need
finish.
to vote on that. Any further discussion?
Nope.
Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carried.
Okay, and the guidelines, that's the last thing I need a motion for, but we have to establish guidelines, and I really need those established today because I need to get this out tomorrow to the departments. I highlighted under guidelines number 2, the third point, departments should submit 2 budgets, one budget with no pay increases and one budget with pay increases of 1,000 for full-time and 2. That's what we did last year. That's probably the only sentence that needs to change in this whole, or if it needs to change, I would maybe ask departments to submit a budget with no increases, and then we take a look at, later when we have revenue and expenditures, we take a look at putting raises in or whatever, patrol cars, ambulances, stuff like, we can look at the budget as, after we get it together as a whole, like we have in the past. We always start off with a raise in mind, but we end up changing it 4 or 5 times, it seems like the last 2 years we have anyway, if we do one at all. I do know elected officials, I've already got the, from CTAS, their schedule, and it's a 5% increase raise for this year, so, right. Well,
More people might pull a petition now.
Not got much time. Anyway,
Change mine.
No.
and I was talking today, we have meetings, and we were having a meeting about the budget, me and the mayor were meeting, and she made a good suggestion too, that maybe we could do a questionnaire and ask departments to tell us what their needs are as far as, a lot of expenses are going up. I guarantee we're going to see, we saw 2 or 3 gas increases, budget amendments for gas. We're going to see a lot more of those before June. People are going to have some increases in their budget in some of those categories just because of the cost of those things. So I don't know that we can expect a no increase budget, but sometimes you can take from one code and move to another. There's.
I think it's a good idea.
So the motion would be something to the effect of, we're passing the guidelines with the addition of a questionnaire to department heads on their priorities?
Yes.
Okay. And then a part about the pay raises for their departments could be included in that questionnaire?
Yes, we could get an idea what they're asking, because I think that's going to be one of their requests.
Yeah, I just think we need to be cautious about saying increases, just putting a limit on the increases, because to be honest, guys, if we don't give our employees a substantial raise this year, we won't have to worry about it, because they're not gonna be here. Because all the factories around here are paying 15 and 20% more than we're paying our employees. So, I know that I can speak for some of the employees that I run into. They're all waiting to see what we do. They're giving us a shot till July to see what we do. But if we don't do something, they're leaving.
I agree. I do think employees.
So I just don't want to nail down, say, you can only submit a budget with 1,000 or something.
Right.
I mean, there may be some departments that are okay, but I know there's several in trouble.
Commissioner Fritz.
And again, to follow up on that statement, I will say, unless this 8 of these commissioners right here is willing to pass a substantial tax increase, you're gonna have to be realistic, and we can only do what we can do within the funds that we have. I understand we are underpaid in a lot of areas, but the only way you can make the payments that we're talking about is, if we don't have the funds, is unfortunately a tax increase. So unless we have all 8 here, and then maybe some more on the other side that's not on this committee, say, we're gonna pass this tax increase so we can have some substantial raises, there ain't gonna be no substantial raises. Because I don't see a large amount of money coming in to support that type of funds. And so the only way we're gonna get that type of funds is with a major tax increase. So that's something you all start thinking in the back of your minds. Are you gonna be able to say, I'll support that tax increase?
I do think that's important. That's why it's really important for us to keep our fund balance as high as we possibly can moving into next fiscal year, because
And fund balance is one-time money.
it is, but if you've got we are having some increases in revenue. Property taxes has increased, sales tax continues to increase. It is starting to level off, so we're not going to see those big increases like we have the last 2 years, but we can use some fund balance to balance the budget with, as long as it's not, a substantial amount.
Because that's where we got in trouble the last time using the fund balance, and that fund balance started going way down because we was balancing with one-time money. We cannot give raises with one-time money.
That's right.
Mayor Frank.
I just wanted to kind of elaborate a little bit on what Robbie said with regard to the raises. So normally what you all do as budget committee is you know what you're going to consider, and so that whole, for instance, last year, 2 budget proposals, one with a raise. But that does require them to do a lot of work because you're entering 2 budgets to submit to you all as budget committee. So I just wanted to give a little bit of background on my comments to him about maybe you just hold it and then do a survey, because some departments are going to need more of a raise in this environment right now. Some employees are appropriately compensated. Some departments have high turnover. So, for example, your staff at the jail, we have health department custodial. I mean, we're looking at $9 and $10 an hour, and you're not able to hire anybody. And so I think from budget committee standpoint, it might be, one dedicated meeting to where you all talk about some of these wage issues. And I don't think it's going to be as simple as saying, okay, we're going to give everybody 4% this year across the board. I don't think that that's really going to solve some of the issues that are going on. I think there's going to be some areas, and I know that gets into some uncomfortable areas, and sometimes you might have employee morale where one person says, well, why are they getting 8% and I'm only getting 3 or 4? I'm just throwing numbers out there. But there are some real issues here that we're going to have to look at. And so that would be my encouragement to you, is that you set aside some time to actually look at that. And doing that kind of variation would require a little more work from the budget or from the finance office. And so that's why it might not make sense to go ahead and plug in a blanket number for an alternate budget. Maybe you all work some things out and say, if you're under this level, I don't know. I don't have any suggestions here tonight, but I was just thinking it might take some more work on your part to really dig in and see how you want to address it. But I do think it needs to be addressed myself, so.
Thank you, Mayor.
Mayor, going on the suggestion that you had of doing a questionnaire for each of the departments. Have you talked with the heads of these departments to see what their feelings are on that particular idea? And then taking it a step further, talking about giving time by this committee. I was just thinking that if we did the questionnaire within the department, and then whatever the results are, the head of the department could come to the committee where we could sit and discuss it. And it may be a situation where we'd have to divide it up into two separate days or one full day or whatever needed to be done. But being the chair of the HR committee, I know in conversations with that department head that retention is a main problem with our employees. And 99% of the time, it's over salary. Now, yes, some people will leave and come back because even though they were getting paid more, they preferred working here for whatever reason. But I really think we owe it to the employees to hear what their needs and what their needs are through their department head. And that would be, you need a motion for that, I'll be glad to pull one together.
Would a motion such as approve the budget guidelines with the addition of the questionnaire to send to department heads without any limit on any type of?
Just a blanket questionnaire to let them give us their honest, open feedback. And then we could take it one step further to set up the meetings that would be needed for this committee to discuss with those department heads.
So that's a motion by Commissioner Denenberg. Y'all got the proper wording on that? Because she and I both were talking on to make sure it wound up in the same place. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Waddell. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
Okay. Under new business, I gave you all a copy of 3 budget amendments. 2 are transfers. The first, one from the law director's office and one from clerk and master. Clerk and master, $3,500 for maintenance to bound books, and law director's office is,
Motion to approve.
yeah,
I'll second.
thank you.
Motion by Commissioner Waddell to approve item number,
I numbered them 0 and 0A because they're
Okay.
transfers, so I'm gonna put them in the front.
all right. And a second by Commissioner Denenberg. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
Okay, and the last one is an appropriation from the county clerk, he needs to purchase a new computer to replace, he had 3 that went out this week, he said, so we need $700 from data processing fees for data processing
Things
equipment.
at the computers again.
Right.
All right, I'll move to approve.
Commissioner Denenberg moves to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner White. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
I have one thing. I don't know if it needs to be in new business or old business. Back about probably 6 months or longer ago, this body chose to donate $50,000 to the McNabb Center for the female. Have they come and picked that up yet? If it'd be appropriate, I'd like to make a motion that we return that money back to the general fund. They've had ample enough time to pick it up. I don't like the idea of funds just sitting in the committed funds. We lose track of them and people don't come pick them up. The deal was they had to raise money to meet that. And if they do, if they come back and they met that, we can put it right back over there and write them a check. But, it's been 6 months. I really just don't see this program taking off, and I'd rather have that money in our fund balance. I think we're gonna need it coming up. And I'd also, if they come back, we have a new, we have a new process to go through. And I think it would be appropriate for them to go through that process.
Do we know why they haven't picked it up?
They were raising a lot of money. They were gonna have to raise a lot of money. This was just a small portion. And, you know, we've talked a lot in the nonprofit, you know, and I also believe that, to prevent this from happening, from us having funds sitting in the committed funds for years on end, waiting on them to raise money, they need to raise their money first and then come and collect ours. But no, I don't know what the process is. I don't know where they're at or anything else. But like I said, it's been, Robbie, do you know how long ago it's been? It's been 6 months, something like that. And it's a lot of money to just be sitting over there.
Mr. Chairman, do they have a contact person here?
Before we go much further, would it be all right with the committee if we got a second on that motion first?
Sorry.
That's all right. I'm just trying to, so I don't forget.
What, do we have a motion on the floor?
The motion was made to move the money back into the unassigned fund balance.
You know, I'm reluctant.
I'll second the motion. Go ahead, Commissioner White.
I'm not opposed to them getting the money. I
Right.
just don't want it to be sitting in committed funds and get lost in the shuffle.
To answer
And-
your question, I spoke to Commissioner Meredith a few days ago about this, and he hadn't heard from Miss, her family's from off Braden
Miss
Flats.
Braden, but she's no longer there. She's also took
Oh,
another job, so
okay.
the female that I know, she took another job somewhere
Okay.
else, so she's no
I
longer
didn't know
there
that.
also,
Maybe they
so
forgot about it. Maybe they forgot about it.
I don't think they forgot about it.
Commissioner White.
I can appreciate it. I'm just a little reluctant to pull the money back. We've committed it. I would, but the lady changing jobs, that's sort of, that might be a lot of unknowns there.
Well, how long are we gonna commit this for? How long are we gonna let it roll over in the committed funds? You know, we don't allow Nathan to roll over his funds. We've bypassed another year. And we don't allow Nathan, we don't allow the sheriff's department to roll over their funds. They have to get approval to roll them over. We pull them back, we put it in the committed funds, or he has to come up here and submit an amendment to get it back.
Perhaps.
Yeah, yeah.
You're the only one I knew his name, and you're the only department head I saw, sorry. Nothing personal.
We've got a motion and a second on the floor.
Let's just
Would it be
vote.
possible, if you said Mr. Meredith had contacted him or
He said he hadn't heard from him.
hadn't heard
He was
from
going, I
him?
think he said he was going to attempt to contact him.
Could we wait and see if Rick or Mr. Meredith makes contact and maybe gets it off center or?
Sure, and if they can come pick it up before our next budget amendment, we won't send it back, right?
I'm just reluctant to
I understand.
give and then take it back.
Okay. I understand.
Commissioner Smallridge.
Why can't we be in touch with them and find out?
Absolutely.
You know, we've
Make a
committed
phone call.
money to them, and maybe they have some reasons why they're not moving ahead as quickly as we expected. But before I could support a motion like this, I would want to hear from them, give them a chance to respond.
Any further discussion? Commissioner Jameson.
I think we're wasting our time. This is not a huge amount of money. We're straining a gnat.
Yeah.
We can spend our time talking about, if this was $4 million or something, amen, we're all talking about it. But what is it, $40,000 or something?
$50,000 more than most people
That's
make
half
a
of a
year.
pickup truck.
What?
It's $50,000, which is more than the majority of the people in this county make a year. It is a significant amount of money. It's not a significant amount of money when you look at, we got a $125 million budget, but how many houses have to pay their taxes to get $50,000, guys? $50,000. my house appraises for $180,000 and I pay $1,200 a year in taxes. So how many of my houses have to pay to get $50,000? It is a significant amount of money. It is a significant amount. But I'll just drop it now, and we can put it on the agenda for next month and see if they've responded.
So you want to withdraw your motion?
I would,
Motion is withdrawn. I withdraw the second.
but I would like it on the agenda for next month.
What about making a motion to contact them and find out
I
their
think
reply?
Chairman Val said he's talked to Rick Meredith, and maybe Commissioner Meredith. You speak to him, just
Okay.
ask him to contact.
All right.
Be very good.
Robbie, I don't know if we overlooked this or maybe it was taken up and I missed it. The email from Commissioner Anderson.
That should have been in your packet. I took care of that with him
Okay,
already.
that's what I thought. Okay,
I did. I'm sorry I put that.
that's all
in
right.
there.
Any further business come before the committee? Hearing none, we are adjourned.